Over the past 2 years, we've built well over $10 million in pipeline for our clients through cold email. The majority of that data has come from Apollo.io. I'm going to break down in this video exactly how we use Apollo to build million-dollar lead lists and what common mistakes to avoid. If you want the exact workflow and prompts, click the link in the description and you can get this full presentation. Why do most agencies fail with Apollo? Well, the answer is usually filtering too broad and including a bunch of companies or contacts who shouldn't be included in the list, or filtering too narrow and leaving out a bunch of great fit companies or contacts. So I'm going to go through how to define your ideal client profile from past wins, how to filter Apollo the right way, and also how to expand your lists with AI. Now, if we go to Apollo.io, what you'll see is it's branded as an AI outbound engine, and it really is a full service platform. They've got B2B prospecting data, multi-channel outreach, they've got a meeting scheduler, call recording and insights, CRM enrichment, waterfall enrichment is in there, deal management. For the purposes of this video, we're going to be focusing on B2B prospecting data, right? So if we go into here, app.apollo.io, this is what you're greeted by. You'll see that right now they have 231.7 million contacts in the database, and this is pulling directly from LinkedIn as far as I'm aware, right? And so looking at the different filters, right, you can see there's a ton of filters. Actually, if you click here on more filters, you can see there are even more. We're going to be focusing on the ones on the left side of the screen as these are the most commonly used. And so lists, you can throw in a list and we'll come on to building lists. But if you have a previous list you want to filter by, you can throw that in there. Persona we don't really use. Email status. Now, for the purposes of this video, we're going to click verified. Actually, if you're using an email finding tool like Lead Magic or Find Email, you might want to click you might want to select all of these or leave it actually unselected, because then you can go and find the email addresses for the people who you don't have them for, but we'll select verified for the purposes of this video. And then you can filter by job titles, right? So this is the first major filter that we're coming to. So the way a lot of people will filter is, for example, you might put head of marketing in there. You might put marketing director in there. And then you can also obviously exclude job titles, and you can filter for seniority as well. Now, what I prefer to do is just include the job title keywords. So for example, marketing, and then filter for seniority. So owner, founder, typically going down to director, right? And that means you'll catch any edge cases. For example, if someone's title has marketing in it, but it's not precisely director of marketing or VP of marketing, etc. From there, you can go into company. So if you have a list of companies that you want to include in your search, you can include them here. Sometimes you might have a CSV, for example. You might have a list of domains. You can throw them in here, up to 10,000 URLs, and you can search for people specifically at those companies. Then we have location. So for example, if you're looking for prospects in the US, you might want to put US in the contact. If it's also important that the company itself is based in the US, then you might want to also put United States as the account HQ. Employee count, we have predefined ranges here, and you can also go to custom range. For example, if I wanted to say from 13 to 333, for some reason, we could do that, right? Industry and keywords, then super important as well, right? So actually, if you go to Google and you type in Apollo.io categories, you'll see industry filter options, right? So I've got it open here. And this is where you can see all the different industries that you can filter by in Apollo. So you can see there's a bunch of them. And one really useful thing you can do is take those, throw them into GPT and see which ones are likely most relevant to your offer. And then you can cross-check that on the back end, right? So for now, we'll just leave this blank. Then you've also got things like market segments. You can search by SIC code. We've got AI filters. We normally ignore those. Buying intent, again, we normally ignore because we like to layer in those enrichments in clay.com, right? You also have signals, website visitors, all this other stuff, right? But the important ones, industry, employee count, location, company, if you're searching for specific people, and also job titles. So what you want to do is analyze your previous 5 to 10 wins or your 5 to 10 best clients, and you want to note the job titles, company size, industry. And then also beyond that, you also want to note trigger events. So that's things like funding, hiring, ad spend, because when you take this data and go to the next step, which for us is going into clay.com, that's where that becomes super relevant. So from that, you want to create an ICP card, right? Industry, titles, company size, geography, and triggers. And then that's where you start to run smart searches. So you can build a list the way I described here. And that is just by putting in you know, the different titles, the different industries, etc. But one other thing that you can do, particularly if you have an industry where it might be hard to find people in Apollo, or, you know, the companies on here aren't also always categorized right? So what you can do to expand the job titles is take this prompt and throw it into ChatGPT. This will be in the pack if you download it. And what you can say, for example, is I sell to X, generate a list of all possible job titles that match that, right? And so if we go into here, I've already done that for heads of marketing at B2B SaaS companies. And so what you can then do is just take this and you can paste it directly into here. So marketing. And again, the way I would normally do it is ask GPT to give us a list of job title keywords. So for example, marketing, growth, revenue, etc., and then filter for seniority. But for now, this is good. And then the other one is you can come up with industry keywords, right, to include and exclude. So for example, if your industry or the prospects you're going after don't fit cleanly into one of the categories that Apollo gives us, so these ones here, then you might want to use AI to come up with some title keywords. And essentially this is a hypothesis. So then you continue to refine this after you get some outputs. So again, I've run that. So we're looking here for B2B SaaS companies with 50 to 200 employees, right? So we're going to take these keywords and I'm going to come in here, come to industry and keywords. You can come to company keywords down here. Remember, I'm going to leave industries blank for now because I'm filtering by keywords, although you can combine the two. And so we've got those keywords in there. And then in exclude, I'm going to come here and filter for the exclude keywords. Right, now this isn't an exact science, and so what you'll likely have to do is come into here. You might want to click into a couple of these, see, okay, are they actually a good fit? And what you might find is that consistently the ones that are a good fit, for example, are coming up in a certain industry. So if we see that all of them are in information technology and services, then maybe we want to use that as an industry filter, right? But then the other thing you can do is take some of these keywords here, and some of them might be relevant to other companies that are similar. So you can copy some of those keywords, and then you can go back and forth again with AI, with ChatGPT or with Claude, and determine which keywords are best for your offer. Once you've built that list, what you want to do is you can select this page or select all. For now, we'll select this page, click apply. And then here you can, connect sales loft or outreach. You can actually use it directly within Apollo. But what we like to do is pull it into another prospecting tool. We typically use smartly.ai. And so we want to export this data. So what we'll do first is add it to a list. We'll create a new list, B2B SaaS YouTube, September 2025. We'll click update. And then what will happen is those leads, those prospects are going to be sent to this list. So now if we come into lists and give it a second to load, you'll see that we've got those 25 prospects. Now, typically, obviously, your list is going to be a lot bigger than this. But then what you can do is select this page, we'll click apply, and then we can export this list, right? So we'll click export all emails, export records, and it's going to give you a list of everyone that you just saw. And so this is one that I downloaded earlier for one of our other clients. And so you can see the richness of the data that you get. So first name, last name, title, company, you get departments, the phone number, industry keywords, website, LinkedIn URL, Facebook URL, Twitter URL, so a bunch of data. And actually, if this isn't enough for you, what you can do is come into here, go into admin settings, all settings, go down to imports and exports and go to CSV export settings. And then you can select any more additional data that you might need, or on the converse, you might want to get rid of some of this data. So maybe you don't want last contacted, stage, etc., because you're not using Apollo. So that's how to kind of expand your lists with AI. But remember that quality beats quantity every time. So you need to stop being creative and start being relevant. And it's better to reach out to 1,000 perfect prospects than to 10,000 random ones. You'll get much better results. You'll not burn your infrastructure, and you'll also not ruin your reputation. So if you want this exact workflow, click the link in the description below to download this pack, or we're the team behind all of these results, the $10 million in pipeline. So go to our website again, which will be in the description, and you can work with us, apply to work with us there.